Oh, we got a question over there.
Question?
Yep.
Yeah, no worries. So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is your approach, you are actually looking at the backup environment, keeping it alive in a sense, and scanning that backup environment. Other people aren't doing that, generally speaking. And so what are you doing about privacy? Like, are you guys scanning it, right? Or are you giving the tools to the end user to scan it? And then how are you doing that? Because it sounds really cool. So if you find, let's say, misconfiguration or privileged access, surely the live environment would know about it.
It's a great question. There's 3 methods. The first is we built in-house machine learning, and we establish a 14-day baseline for all the protected objects in the environment. Correct. And if we see anomalous behavior based on that baseline, we'll throw the ransomware alert. That's the first level. The second level is we use an IOC scan. We partner with Qualys and their blue hexagon threat feed, and this is how we can scan for specific IOCs within the backup data. And then the final part, the data classification piece, we partner with Big ID on this. They have regex and machine learning based data classification to tell you which sensitive data is stored within the backups.
Right. The question is really, does Cohesity look at your data?
Yes. So the way it works is these operations are done on-premise on a cluster, and only metadata flows into our managed cloud environment. It's very important to us to honor the data sovereignty of our customers and not move data out of their environments. So we provide the capability with metadata upload only.
So, and yeah, answer being no, we look at the metadata, not your data. Yeah, I know, isn't it? That's why I said it's always great to hear from Stephen. We have a question over here, I think. Was that you?
One of the important things that I was looking at the initial phase is that when the attacker actually attacks the file level, they will leave the start of the file, and then in between they will start to encrypt and then goes back to the normal file. But how do you measure that with the backup that we have done? Because most of the time, especially the database backup files are always compressed. And the signature of those files is not the same as the signature of the database files.
Yes.
And how does Cohesity help in that scenario?
Yes. So the anomaly detection uses several factors. We use data read size, data written size, entropy, and then the number of files being modified between backups. So I spoke a little bit about what happens if they only encrypt a portion of the file. Well, the file's still changing, and it will still trigger at least one of those indicators. Now, your question about pre-encrypted database dump data, it's a more difficult problem to solve because something that's pre-encrypted, it may throw off the entropy detection, for instance. So it is a valid concern.
Okay, and we have another question back from...
Yeah, I got a follow-on question. This is really cool, actually. So,
it is, isn't it?
Could you look at it this way? So I was talking to your colleague earlier, Stephen, about this. And so, in a sense, the battleground has taken place a lot for the bad guys to get to you at the back of the vault, let's say, right?
Yes.
You're at the very back. Right. So could you set up the front end of a customer environment on MITRE and then your end on NIST so that you've almost got a redundancy of policy and a redundancy, right. And then you can see, you can play them off of each other, can't you?
Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
This is very complementary. Cohesity understands we're not going to replace your existing cybersecurity tools. If you have an event management tool in place, you have an orchestration tool in place, we can pass alerts from our platform into those. In the case of a SOAR tool, you could even action those items. So we're not looking to replace what you have, we're looking to supplement it if the other controls fail.
Oh, yay, I get to ask my question.
Okay.
So one of the things you were talking about was this whole question of, have you thought about what it takes to get recovery in the event of a ransomware or whatever for thousands or tens of thousands of machines? To what extent do you see people who are dealing with cybersecurity also dealing with just general disaster recovery and business continuance and the scale problem in that environment? I mean, obviously there's a fit, but how are you seeing that?
There's more overlap between those worlds than there used to be.
Yeah.
There used to be strict silos of backup, DR, cyber. Now it's all blending together. I would say within the last 6 months, we're working with many organizations on their cyber recovery plan, bringing the DR people in, having that conversation. We're seeing it more now than ever.
I'm really happy to hear you say that, because literally one of my clients asked me 2 days ago, a very large financial services firm, WSTA member, and they were like, hey, we're dealing with the challenge of these two at the same time. So that's why, as you were talking about this, I thought, Any other questions before we thank Stephen again? Okay, well, I know you're going to have a lot of people coming by. Thank you very much, Stephen.